I'm out on my ride tonight, this afternoon, this evening. It's Saturday, the day after Good Friday. Tomorrow's Easter Sunday. And, one of the reasons I love to ride my bike is I love to get alone. I love to pray. I usually listen to worship songs when I'm riding. And I think a lot. And the Lord and I have great conversations out on my bike rides. And so tonight, I'm riding along, and I'm honestly, I've been thinking about these disciples that followed Jesus. And I'm wondering today what the day after his crucifixion was like. What was it like for those guys as they contemplated, as they feared for their own lives, as they thought about Jesus, and they recalled the miracles that he did and how good he was. And I'm sure that as they talked to one another as a group, and even thought, as they went away to be alone, they had lots of questions. And I'm sure that some, they tried to believe and they had stronger faith. And then there were those who were like, man, what in the world happened? And what's going to happen to us? And, what do we do now? And so Saturday, it's a big day. And in our culture, we celebrate Good Friday, and Saturday comes, and, a lot of times we spend Saturday getting ready for Sunday morning. And, if you go to church, you're getting ready and you're getting your clothes. You're kind of setting up things, and you're preparing the big Easter meal. And, Saturday just kind of goes along. But, for so many people that were around during the days of Jesus, when he was there with them in person, man, Saturday was a tough day. Oh my goodness, a dark day, a sad day, a day of mourning, a day of just like grief and wonder and questions and deep thoughts and depression. And, so many times they were just like, oh my goodness, what happened? And so today, if you're hanging out in your world today and you're in a dark place and you're like, man, I don't know what's going to happen next. And, I've been following Jesus all these years, and I don't really know what's coming or what he's doing in my life. You're not alone. You're just like the followers of Jesus in those days when they were wondering and thought. And so, as I'm praying today, and even yesterday, thinking about Saturday, I feel like God is just telling me real clearly. He's like, Scott, there's so many times in our lives when I'm close to you and I'm with you and I'm in person with you and I'm walking with you and you feel my presence and I'm near, just like it was with the disciples during those years of ministry before I was crucified. I feel like God is just, Jesus telling me these things. It's like, Scott, when you're walking with me, then there are going to come times, Scott, I believe God said to me through the Holy Spirit, Scott, there are going to be times when you have a lot of questions and you wonder where I am, and you're in a valley and it's dry. And then I believe Jesus, just for me personally, he said, Scott, just remember that there really is a day of resurrection, that the hard times don't stick around forever. The valleys are valleys for a reason. You got to have valleys. You got to have valleys. Nothing really grows up where it's really high. And Jesus said to me, he said, Scott, in those valleys, Scott, that's where you're going to grow the most. And so as he says those things to me, maybe for you today, you're thinking about, life is confusing and you don't really know what to do or what steps to take or where to go next. I just want you to know from my heart that from me to you, that Jesus is coming. That the day of his resurrection, it's already happened. He's alive. And for us today, he's coming back someday. He is going to return, and we're going to be with him in heaven forever. And it's going to happen. And as we finish out our time on earth, we just have to remember that in the valleys, he's still with us, and the resurrection is coming. Maybe tomorrow is the day that the breakthrough comes for you. Maybe tomorrow is the day that all the dominoes fall and everything kind of goes in place and everything works out. Maybe tomorrow, maybe it's next week. But do not live in despair. Do not think that your dark time is going to be forever. You know, those disciples, the day after he was crucified, you know, they were in despair. But it wasn't long after that he came up out of the grave, and the resurrection happened, and death was defeated, and Jesus burst out of that tomb, and he showed up. He showed up. He showed up again. And he called those disciples, and he met with people on the planet, and then he ascended up into heaven. He ascended up into heaven. Yes, he did. All right, hey, listen, I love you so much. Trust Jesus today. Wait on him. Don't give up in the dark time. Do not give up in the dark time. Do not stop when it's dry or hard or lonely. He's coming back. His day of resurrection is right around the corner for all of us. All right. I love you so much. I'm going to go finish my ride. And we get to celebrate tomorrow the resurrection of a king. Oh man, that's so awesome. All right, I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Hey, let's go make a difference.